This is so cool. The beings that built all this new engineering and how to organize their efforts.
It's been a minute since I recorded a video for you guys, and I thought I would talk about something that is not Diablo 4, something that is not Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, but instead, the Gunk. The Gunk is a story-driven action-adventure game that came out way back on December 16th, 2021. It is available on Xbox GamePass, and it was made by Image and Form. If you do a little research on Image and Form, they actually have been a game studio for a very long time. They kind of morphed into this other studio called Thunderful Development, and they're most notably recognized for their work on the SteamWorld series. So SteamWorld Dig, SteamWorld Dig 2, and SteamWorld Heist. This is a very radical departure from their traditional side-scrolling games, and it features a character named Ronnie and her girlfriend, Bex. They basically land on this planet, and they come in contact with this parasite. It's like this goo, which they call the Gunk. That's where the name comes from. Ronnie has this, she's missing part of her arm, and she has this robotic kind of attachment over it, which she affectionately calls Pumpkin, by the way. And Pumpkin is used to suck up the Gunk, which basically brings the environment back to normal. So you'll enter, the gameplay loop is basically this. Ronnie goes out exploring, she gets to an area where there's a lot of gunk, you have to navigate around, suck up all the gunk, at which point the environment returns to normal, which some very simple puzzles and or platforming will reveal a new area to explore, and so on and so on and so on. And you'll travel all around various biomes. You'll go through jungles, you'll go through this really cool cave system, you'll go through this kind of weird industrial area where there's like a city and then this like factory almost, trying to figure out what is going on and why. I remember when this game came out, or at least when it was announced, it didn't really seem to make a lot of waves. I think a lot of people first thought it was like okay. And I would say this was definitely at the height of when a lot of us would say that Xbox Game Pass was swimming in a sea of sevens. So just 7 out of 10 games. Not horrible, not great, largely forgettable games. And this was definitely like smack dab in the middle of that period. So I would not be surprised at all if you did not know this game did not even exist. When it did kind of get reviewed and the smoke settled, it was around a 70 on Game Pass. I'm sorry, on Metacritic. 66 on PC and 71 on Xbox One S or X, you know, the series, whatever, right? And, you know, I gotta say it was fun. I enjoyed it. I played it. I beat it. It took about 4.5 hours. I was just looking for something different, kind of chill. I would say that the gameplay is very simplistic, but also incredibly satisfying. Throughout the adventure, you will collect and scan various flowers and various journals and devices around the world, which eventually allow you to unlock new technology. And the technology unlocked is not a requirement to beat the game. It's not like a Metroidvania game where you need to have space jump boots to go on to the next area or whatever. Any attachment that you absolutely must pivotably have to complete the game is given to you very quickly via a story element. But a lot of the stuff just makes it easier. You can take more hits. Your vacuum is faster. Your vacuum is bigger. You have different types of stun effects for the very, very light combat sections that you will most likely encounter throughout the game. Again, not required at all, purely optional. But the game definitely had a lot of heart to it, and I think it told a very good message. And a lot of games do this, where they have a political or a social statement to make, essentially, without actually making the statement. This game is absolutely about energy conservation, absolutely about taking care of the environment, and the downfall of what happens when you don't. Very clearly on, you figure out what is going on here. There was no twists and turns in the story, no 11th hour ridiculous reveal. The characters are largely transparent from what their initial motivation is very early on in the game, and they remain that way through the same. I would argue that I guess Beck's character probably is the most kind of dynamic in the sense that her personality does change very slightly, but Ronnie, your player character, has the spirit of adventure, and she just is exploring for exploring's sake, and that's just the way it is. So why am I talking about the Gunk now? Well, honestly, I think it's a good assessment to look at kind of where Xbox Game Pass is. And I feel like, you know, Starfield is going to be a big banger of a game that's going to come out, and I think it's going to revolutionize everything. I'm sure you've been following the news with the sheer amount of acquisitions that Microsoft has been trying to get as they are defending the potential buyout of Activision Blizzard. But I feel like Game Pass has been doing a really good job of releasing games that are just different. And I can promise you with all sincerity, you've never played a game like the Gunk. It might not be for you. You might look at it and say, oh, this is dumb. I don't like the gameplay. I don't like the graphics. I don't like the plot. I don't like the whatever. And that's totally fine. But I promise this is a game that you have never experienced before. I cannot think of a game that required you to go around and essentially clean and kind of have this light platforming element to it. I guess maybe Power Wash Simulator comes somewhat close. Another somewhat therapeutic game that's fun to just kind of play through and enjoy casually. But I enjoyed the Gunk. I do recommend it. If you have Game Pass and you own an Xbox Series X, that is plugged into a high-definition television where you're going to get that nice HDR and that nice crisp image. The values of brightness versus darkness, the contrast between your character and the enemies and the environment around them are definitely worth the stay. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous game where they took a lot of care into the very small sections of gameplay that you got to experience, but the way that the Gunk moves, the way that the environment shifts as you basically return things back to normal, and the lighthearted dialogue, well, mostly lighthearted. There are a few somewhat serious moments in there, but the dialogue that flows behind is just very casual and natural, and this is just a very stress-free, fun game to play. So I thought I'd do something different for a change, not talk about first-person shooters, not talk about Diablo, not talk about Game of the Year, all the drama or nonsense that's going on with the Microsoft Blizzard. And I get it. That probably means a lot of you aren't going to watch this particular video. It will probably be one of my lower watched videos, and that's fine. I still feel like I wanted to do a service for this game because I did enjoy it. And I think you will too. The name of the game is The Gunk. And if you have Xbox Game Pass, I promise you could check it out right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.
Not sure how it translates. Something like